and everything is coming through hopefully clear for us. I'm trying to make sure we don't have any echoes.
I'm getting background music still.
Okay, bear with us here. I'm going to try and get rid of our background music. Did that stop, hopefully?
So, we're good now.
Awesome.
I can hear myself.
That should definitely help. So thank you. Welcome to the Cookies Enabled Wednesday What's New channel. And we're just going to cover some things that happened this last week and kind of cover some topics that we couldn't cram into our weekly videos. And hopefully you guys enjoy. Again, my name is Will. And on my spare screen here is my editor and friend Jaeger. And we are going to be, first of all, jumping into the SpaceX SN9 launch that happened yesterday. And I will let Jaeger take it away here for us.
All right. So, yeah, we've had a busy week, I think, for SpaceX. A lot of stuff is happening. First, a little while ago, they found that SpaceX has purchased 2 offshore oil drilling rigs. And they're going to be using those as offshore launch pads for Starship in the end. So that's some big news. That's really cool. I think they're named Phobos and Deimos, which kind of made them realize, oh, this is for Starship because those are 2 of Mars' moons. So they've got that going. They've had a few successful launches coming up, I believe, tonight around 1:30, and then at 5:30 we're going to have 2 simultaneous launches from SpaceX, one on either coast. So 4 hours apart, they're launching 2
very cool
right away. That is very fast for them, but
that's super fast for really anybody. I feel
they're really ramping up their speed this year. What's big in the news, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen it, and in a second here we're going to show you some clips from the video. Yesterday they did their test of SN9. We've been waiting for that. I've been tweeting on our page for a bit, but it was almost successful. It went boom in the end. It went boom. Very big boom. When
very
you
big
show the
boom.
video, you will see it. It tried to correct from the belly flop into its landing at the end. It overcorrected and landed almost sideways on the pad. Again, this is just a test, so there's something like this to happen. So it's really not, it's nothing bad. They got a lot of data from it, so they can use that in the next one. SN10 is right next to it. You'll see that in the video. It's right there, and we'll kind of talk about what's happening as we show you the clip.
Yep, I'm actually going to show you the transition here. So now we can should be able to see the 2 rockets that we're waiting on the launch pad here. And so obviously the one with that's got all that, looks like foam kind of coming out of the bottom of it. That's actually the SN9. That's the one they launched yesterday. SN10 is the one right next to it. That one, I think, is, you said, later this week, right? Or was that next week? Or, I don't know.
We're hoping within a few weeks. We don't quite know yet.
A few weeks, fingers crossed.
Hopefully. I mean, it's
so
there.
We're going to watch this launch here.
We'll skip ahead a little bit. We'll show you
absolutely.
As it takes off, and then we'll kind of skip into as it transitions into the belly flop, and then you'll see it crash. So it's not a terribly long video.
Now I'm going to try to skip around here so you guys can see a little more of it. Hopefully this is coming through on your guys' end. So here's a close-up shot, both of them. That way you can definitely see the liquid nitrogen and whatnot coming out there. Let's see if I can get that takeoff. I want to say it's right around the 5-minute mark. Yep, 13 seconds. Here we go. That's a better countdown window. This is a great view. Unfortunately, this is not the one I watched yesterday, but this is really close. I'm surprised they got a camera so close to it here. So as you can tell, the ignition and the whole takeoff sequence went really flawlessly well, I think. And I mean, the stability and control of the spacecraft is amazing.
Well, you'll see it launches. It uses 3 of, I believe it's their Raptor engines. As it gets higher,
yep, you can see the 3 little circles at the bottom there.
And it'll eventually cut down to 1. You can kind of see how those engines gimbal back and forth to really keep it pointed in the right direction. Pointy end up, flamey end down, I believe every astronaut calls it, is the best way. Now, it takes up a 12.5 kilometer launch. So, I mean, it's amazing
very successful.
How big it is when you look at this video and you see its size.
Okay, I'm going to kind of skip ahead to the free fall. But yeah, keep talking, sorry. This is right about where the final engine cuts out, and it's going to do its flip into the free fall here. As you can see, that side thruster comes on so it can reposition itself for a proper fall.
And at this point, once it gets into the fall, it's going to use those tail flaps and the nose flaps to help keep it in the right position. They also add a lot of wind resistance to help slow it down as it gets closer. Because it's going really, really fast.
Oh, yeah, this is practically
really fast
terminal velocity.
It gets to free fall. So I don't know if it actually hits terminal velocity or not because of those flaps.
The flaps probably keep it just on the safe side of terminal velocity, because you don't see it breaking the sound barrier, I mean, as much coming down. You will when it comes to the landing pad, but
I believe
not so much with this one.
It's a subsonic launch.
Pardon me. Okay, so far this is going okay. It kind of, as I say, they kind of lose the feed for just a split second, but it starts to come into the main view here. I'm going to jump back to my other screen.
You can probably just let it play through to the end. We don't have to skip ahead at this point because it's
only a few seconds before it.
From my view, everybody, so, I mean, the feed on my end is a little delayed as I'm watching the YouTube feed. It has to go from our computer, let's go from Skype to his computer out and then to YouTube. So I'm a little behind, but he'll see it as it happens when it goes boom.
And so it's really starting again. You can see these side thrusters and those fins on the side really helping to control it. You can actually hear the guys saying that it's staying in the correct position right above the launch pad, which is pretty cool. And of course now I'm having webcam issues, but this is where everything kind of goes wrong. Right at the end there, it tries to flip itself back straight up, and instead it overcorrects itself, and it kind of falls just unfortunately right to the ground. It did not last very long.
I love that they give it that view looking up, like from the pad looking up at it, and you just see it coming at you. That's such a cool view for it.
Okay, so now you should be able to see me again, hopefully, and I should be able to transition a little more here, but I'm just kind of fixing my window, so bear with me.
So I think at this point we've already seen it crash.
And
from my end, but you can really see this is a extremely large rocket, and this is only the spaceship portion too. We haven't even, and that's what's going to get it into orbit. And the booster is going to be at least the size of Starship, if not taller. So you take that, double it a little bit more, and that's the full rocket. It's crazy huge. So that's what you're looking at.
I'm sorry about my window that's continuously changing here. This is a constant issue with this program.
But that was what happened yesterday, everybody. So we'll see Starship SN9 happen soon. Also, like this summer or fall, I believe, we're supposed to have the first ever civilian launch to the space station. There are a few with SpaceX contracted through NASA. So not really, I guess it's space tourism.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Cool. I'd say it's space tourism.
It's going to be really interesting to watch, that's for sure. Window resizing.
There we go. Hopefully I have repaired my window a little bit there. This has been such a pain. I'm sorry about that, guys. Sorry. Just still getting used to the program and everything that we need to do for this live feed. But so far, so good. Looks like I do have some issues with my encoding lag, unfortunately. So we are having some dropped frames. I'm not sure how bad it's coming out on your guys' side. Hopefully it's looking good. Now the next topic that we wanted to talk about, I did miss our one movie that we forgot to mention in our last live broadcast, but also in our history of the computer and the PC video that just came out earlier this week. I didn't have enough time to cram all of that into that video. So in our last live stream, if you missed that one, go back and watch that on our channel. You'll get a huge list of all these movies that kind of go through that. And the one movie, actually there's a couple that we missed, is War Games was the main one. This one actually comes in between, right before you get to Pirates of Silicon Valley with Steve Jobs and Steve Ballmer and Bill Gates and all of them. You really want to hit War Games before then, and this would actually come after Hidden Figures. So before, so you want to watch Hidden Figures, then you want to watch War Games, and then you'd want to watch Pirates of Silicon Valley if you're going in the correct order there. And the reason why this movie is so important is because it's all about a computer game that literally is going above and beyond its original programming by actually breaking into NORAD and taking control of the nuclear silos, and they have to convince this program that there is no winning solution to the game. And so hence the term War Games. It does have some pretty big actors in it as well. I know you guys know, pretty much everybody knows Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The lead from that is also the lead in this movie. Again, I always forget his name, and I'm so terribly sorry about that.
Matthew Broderick.
Thank you. Don't know why I always forget Matthew Broderick. But yes, he does excellent in this movie. Really showcases technology is very much in the beginning of the internet, where he's literally taking a rotary phone and connecting it to his floppy diskette computer machine and clicks it into place and puts the game in and can log into his school and so on and so forth. So it's very realistic in the fact that this is actually what would have happened. I can try to show you guys the trailer. I'm not sure if we're going to get too much latency. I already have quite a bit already, so I think I'll kind of hold off on that for now. If you do want to look at the trailer, they've got the trailer on YouTube. That you can actually rent the movie from YouTube. I think it's actually on Netflix or Hulu. One of those two. I know you can get it for free. It's like part of the streaming service. I really want to say it's Netflix. I might have to double check that really quick as well, because I really want to say they've got it on their streaming service. So definitely look for that movie. It really did. Yeah, because it was definitely before Ferris Bueller's Day Off that movie came out. Maybe even a good 5-10 years almost. I mean, it's pretty close to the same era, but not too far off. So that one definitely jump-started his career, I'd like to say. So War Games was definitely a great movie to add to that. If also kind of spinning off from the internet side of things and kind of a futuristic look at computers would actually be The Matrix. Again, there's really not a lot of good comparisons here, but this movie does explain actually a lot about how computers function, how things are actually crammed into matrices, and then those are built into systems. Each system has layers, and so on and so forth. And so this is very much represented in the game quite a bit, or in the movie quite a bit. And so you do see that in The Matrix 1. And so definitely want to probably tune into that one. Matrix 2 and 3 are more just spin-offs of the story. They don't really have a technical side to them. Unless you're talking about the architect, then that's actually kind of interesting, because we could do a whole live video on the architect, because that's actually kind of an interesting way of looking at computers from the inside out.
Matrix 2 and 3 are a little polarizing too. Either you love them or you hate them as well.
Yes.
Yep. That's the thing.
I loved them, but most people hated them.
They're working on 4 now too, so that's.
And I'm super excited.
Very much so, especially with the advances and.
Oh yeah, I'm super excited. Oh man, and I didn't hate that movie. That really wasn't that bad. I thought what's her face in it was really good. I can't even think of Mila Kunis, I think is her name, right? Wasn't she the lead star in that one? And there's her counter role. Oh shoot, man, it's been a minute. Yeah, we might have to IMDb that one. I'm sorry. Shoot, I can see his face. I can't even think of other movies he's been in. I'm just seeing him flying around with the space boots because that was probably the coolest part of that movie too. I was like, man, I want some space boots. Channing Tatum. Thank you. Yes, yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly who.
Channing Tatum.
He did a great job, I thought.
Eddie Redmayne, I forgot he was in a. But I'm assuming he probably died in that because he dies in like every movie he's in.
Yeah, and that one was visually very stunning. It kind of reminded me of the old school, was it Final Fantasy that they released? Again, nothing like the game. It's a totally different story, but the visual effects and the just the graphics that they crammed into that movie are amazing. I would definitely love to see how they extend into Jupiter and below the clouds, and they have like that whole city under there and the people living there and stuff. It's kind of Bioshocky, which I tried to have on my machine back there, but of course it was trying to update some cloud saves and froze. So
it was kind of like what was it? Dances with Smurfs. What was it?
Just a little, maybe just a tad.
No, what's that movie? I'm thinking.
Shoot. All I can think of is Trolls, but I don't know if that's exactly what you're talking about or not.
Me. It's the one on the planet Pandora.
Oh, Avatar.
Avatar. Thank you.
Yes.
It's like that.
Yes.
Visually, it's incredible. It's not a good movie, but it's entertaining.
Yeah. Unfortunately, again, if you've seen the old Disney movie. Oh shoot, what is that one called? I always forget. Fern Gully. If you've ever seen Fern Gully, you've already seen the Avatar movie. It's the same plot. It's just things are labeled a little differently. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to stretch you off the screen there. I'm just trying to get us positioned a little better. And hopefully that works. So sorry again for the technical difficulties, everybody. Hopefully this allows me to lock you in place again here.
Apparently last
Awesome.
time I cut out every once in a while, so we're hoping that doesn't work this time. I mean, that doesn't happen this time. We'll see.
Yes. The only other thing I wanted to mention TV-wise, there's a bunch of good shows out there that definitely relate to time travel, as well as science fiction and whatnot. I mean, the list is endless. I was just mentioning before we jumped on the broadcast here about Jeremy Bearimy from The Good Place. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that show. If you haven't, definitely check it out. I think it's probably one of the most underrated, hysterical shows I probably have ever watched. And it really plays on the fantasies of afterlife and, good versus evil and demons and angels and whatnot, but not in a way that anybody's expecting. Since it's not a supernatural kind of show, it's not Supernatural, the show, but it's really, really funny. So definitely check that one out. Other than that, though, I think that kind of wrapped up our missing movies that we wanted to chat about. The other things that we wanted to chat about, I know the one thing was GameStop. They've had a really interesting week with Reddit attacking the stock market. And really the backstory was these hedge funds that GameStop originally signed with were really funneling money out of GameStop and slowly sucking them dry. And it was kind of a combination of poor marketing from GameStop's side of things, as well as lack of sales. So
what
more
you saw,
digital
unfortunately,
sales.
A lot of the hedge funds were trying to short sell it.
Yes.
For those who don't know, the basics, and I'll probably get a little bit wrong, but short selling, these investors would borrow stock from their broker,
right,
and they'd sell it, hoping to buy it back at a lower price. So then they could give it back to their broker at what they paid for. So
exactly.
They can pocket the difference. So they'd sell it, they'd buy it back at a lower price. They'd have extra money. They'd keep that. brokers would still have their stock. It's something like that. Thing is, Reddit noticed this, and you get a bunch of people on Reddit working together. They just started buying the stock, and the price went higher and higher and higher. So now the short sellers are in trouble because they have to legally give that stock back to where they borrowed it from. But now in order to do that, they have to buy it back at a much higher price. Exactly. They lose tons of money, and we can talk all day about what that means, the ethics and everything. It's just interesting.
We're not going to get into it.
Just a bunch of these people buying tiny bits of stock. Some people buy $10 worth. Some people would throw 1,000 in, but it completely disrupted what these hedge funds are used to. And then they started with other things. I think Outback, I think, was one of them that was failing. AMC. AMC's had a rough week.
There was another.
And dropped again. It's going back up.
I was like, save Radio Shack. Does anybody remember Radio Shack?
Remember Radio Shack. There's still some around.
I didn't know. I mean, I haven't seen a Radio Shack that's still open in years. I was just watching a show and they actually went to the Radio Shack to get something, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I remember going to get cables and stuff at my local Radio Shack because it was the cheapest place to get them. But man, I can't even think of where the closest one is to me now.
I know there's one in
northern
Michigan. When I
wouldn't be surprised.
We visit family up north, there's still one. I saw a meme that said, "Dear Blockbuster, we're sorry we were too late." Because they're already gone. They probably could have saved. I always share all those fun memes on my personal page. Maybe I'll put out a few on ours. Speaking of things like that, Radio Shack, things changing over the years. One of the big meme formats right now is like an old woman with the walker and her daughter next to her or someone, and she'll say something, and it's, "Sure, Grandma, let's get you back to bed." The best one I saw was, and I could picture her voice as, "Netflix used to come in the mail." Sure, Grandma, let's get you.
It really did, and you could actually still get it in the mail.
Well, that was the downfall of Blockbuster, really.
That really was. The ability to just go build a list of every movie that you wanted, and then as you watched them and sent them back, they would just continue to send those movies to you from your list. And this was a genius way to do movies and entertainment, really a step above your rental sites. And this is also before Redbox. None of that was around. I mean, maybe the vending machines were available out in China and Japan where they have like population problems, but definitely not over here in the United States. That's just still now taking off. And I still don't understand why we don't use. I'm sorry, say again.
Was it GameFly, like the game version of that?
Yes.
Mailing? I remember
and that is still around too. They tried to bridge into the digital realm where you can kind of like the Google Sativa, or I always say it wrong, Satella.
Stadia.
Stadia, thank you. Yeah, the online streaming gaming situation. That's what GameFly is trying to turn into. Last time I checked, you can still get the games sent to you in the mail, but now that everything's becoming more digital, I mean, they're even selling consoles now without disk drives. You would not be able to do a GameFly situation on that I know of. So this is going to be really interesting to see how things go. I think we will see enough push of our server power in the future that you won't need a hardcore dedicated machine. I mean, you might need something on your end to kind of connect the visual aspect of things as well as a storage media. But other than that, I mean, I think this could be the future of gaming. It's just it's at least 10 years away, I want to say, for sure. We've got some time.
And there's a sneak peek for y'all. Monday, when we drop our next video, this one's history of video games.
Yes, it is.
That's going to be a fun one.
We're going to have a lot of things we're going to have to talk about on our What's New Wednesday episode after that one, because there's a lot, again, I could not cram into there. There's so many consoles that were missed that I do not mention, but we're not getting into that in this episode. So you wanted to mention about the Ring drone, which is pretty awesome, and I'm going to try to pull that video up while you chat about it here.
I this video popped up in my YouTube recommended. I don't know why. The video was from 4 months ago, so I don't know if it's released yet. I didn't really see anything on Ring's website, if you could purchase it or not. I didn't really look that far into it. But basically, it's a small little drone. Little square rectangle. You'll see it here in a second. But
there we go. Hopefully you guys can see it here.
It pops up off of its stand. You can pre-program flights throughout your house for it to check on things. Say, I think I left the oven on, or I left this going. You can select a flight plan if you're not at home, and it'll fly over, and you can make sure that everything is safe. Or if an intruder breaks in, it can. We've got a right from Ring's YouTube channel. We've got this video, so you can take a look at that. So we'll play that.
Unfortunately, it's really super short. I'm gonna try and play it one more time here for us, so that way we can see it one more time there, because it is a pretty cool video. Again, so it shows somebody breaking in. It immediately launches out into the air, and now he gets an alert on his phone as the owner. So now he can see this guy breaking into his house, and the drone is kind of scaring the thief away, I guess you could say. So this is definitely a potential thing for the future. I think we can actually start to see these as a neighborhood watch system, where they're actually in your neighborhood, kind of floating around, checking on your kids, making sure people aren't doing crazy stuff in the bushes or whatever.
It has the capability. I don't think it ever will, though, because that really starts pushing into who's controlling it, who's surveilling you. You don't want your own private drone. I mean, that's why we have laws on where you can fly a drone.
Absolutely.
Those are, it's FAA regulations. It's also local ordinances. Some cities have different. That's some area where it's so new, the law is trying to catch up.
Right.
But, in your house, it has some amazing capabilities. I think they are definitely worried about surveillance and security as well. Ring has been doing really good about this so far.
They've been doing fantastic.
The drone's very quiet, but it's also programmed to emit a hum whenever it's going, so it can't sneak up on you, or it's there.
Which is great. That's awesome.
It'd be a fun way to, you can freak out your kids or your spouse or something if you want. Just fly it into the room.
Oh yeah.
Fly it up the stairs.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Get up. Time for school.
Wake up! It'd be actually really cool if it had like a little claw arm on it that you could pick up small things, like it'd grab the blanket and pull it off of the kid or something, or spray him with water, like, get down, kitty, or something, and it sprays it with water or whatever. That would be really cool. Maybe that's the model 2.0. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
I'll tell you what, every cat owner would have to program its flights to be away from anything the cat could get to. Because if I had one flying, I know my cat would be right up here, jump on it, tackle it, or they'll be freaked out. Like, what is this?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I feel like that drone and cats will not mix.
Oh god, yeah. No.
We'll have to see what happens.
Well, there was only one other thing I think I wanted to mention. Lately this week I've been just kind of diving into different random videos and channels that had popped up on YouTube. The one that I found interesting was about there's a couple of different guys that are buying technology and huge solid state drives, trying to build computers and whatnot out of equipment they have bought off of these cheaper websites like Wish. And you're obviously not getting what you pay for. I do remember there was the episode where he orders an 8 terabit solid state drive, and he rips the whole thing apart, and it ended up just being a USB 4 bank with 4 USBs stuck on it, and this whole thing was glued together inside this clamshell that made it look like a standard solid state drive that you would just plug in and buy it Office Depot or whatever. But it was definitely not the case. This thing could have easily shorted out your machine or caused problems, or even just burst into flames from heat and glue. So obviously, if you're interested in buying any technology from Wish, or I think there's like tech.com, there's a few other random places that aren't legitimate at all, definitely go to YouTube, type in bought this from Wish or whatever, and see if it comes up. I can guarantee you're not getting what you think you're getting. And these videos are pretty intense. They will literally test out the phone that they bought and then rip the phone apart so you can see the insides and how different it is from your Samsung phone or your Google phone or your Apple iPhone, because those are superior parts. They're superior builds. You do have glue and whatnot holding them together, but it's not mostly glue. And they don't advertise, batteries that are bigger, and then they actually have smaller ones inside and so forth. And that was a huge thing that kind of blew me away. So definitely research your products before you buy them. And one way you can do that is by using our friends here at YouTube that will buy these products so you don't have to. So definitely check out some of those options, and just dive in there, because it's actually kind of intriguing to see how they get around some of our technologies, and what they would consider good is not what we would consider good at all. No. So
I've seen a lot of those reviews. Once in a while, you will get something great from Wish. It really
Every now and
depends
then
on the product, but there are so many reviews out there. A lot of it, however, is not that good. But those guys trying to build these computers with smaller parts, sometimes though, if it is a quality, a quality piece of electronics, you can do a lot with them. A lot of secure, like rendering engines or supercomputers have been built with off-the-shelf parts. I believe there was one, I forget which branch of the military it was, but they were trying to build a computer for something, and they basically strung together a bunch of PS3s because they did the job, and it was cheaper. I think.
I do remember that video, actually. That was cool.
Parts. These aren't custom designed servers half the time. It's just a bunch of home desktops or servers, or like a PS3 has. I mean, being able to take its graphics engine, like its graphics cards and the processors there, and use them for another purpose to just chew through data, it's a lot cheaper. So you buy a ton of those, you link them together with the software is where it gets custom. But even there's so many distributions of Linux out there that you can play around with. You can pretty much anything if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I should try to do a little YouTube or an Ubuntu 20 video. This has been blowing me away because the last 2 or 3 times I've used it, not only has it been faster than any version of Linux I've ever used, but it's probably one of the most stable versions of Linux I think I've ever used. And it has a lot of built-in functionality right off the bat, even off of its live build, where you don't have to install any of its operating system. You can kind of run it as a virtual machine. Actually works almost as sturdy as the real thing. So I might have to do a little video of that in the future, show you guys other options other than Apple and Microsoft, because they are out there. People just don't know about them. So it's a little sad, unfortunately. I mean, most people are hearing about Chromebook. I feel like that's the biggest competitor lately, because Chromebook is not Windows and it is not Apple. It is actually Google. So you're actually running kind of an Android desktop.
It's a cut down. It's basically a Chrome, like they took the Chrome, whatever engine runs the Chrome browser, made it into a basic desktop. You can do the basics. It's been really, really good this year, or last year.
Very good this year.
They kind of cornered the market when all these schools had to go to virtual learning. Schools were buying up Chromebooks left and right because it's a cheap. They
are cheap. And they work.
Yeah. If you can't afford a laptop, you need to work in school. There's been a lot of private and publicly funded programs for kids that don't have the best situation. They can't afford a computer to do their work. There are programs out there that will provide them with laptops, or the schools will buy them, and you get to use it, but you got to take care of it. So it's a cheap alternative. You can get one. You can get a basic tiny one for like $150, $200, which is not bad. If all you have to do is video chat, type up papers, you're good to go. Definitely can't play Crisis or anything.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to play games, even streaming games, and streaming anything above 1080p is going to just drag that system, because it can't. that's not what it's designed to do. It's not an entertainment device. It's supposed to be like a studying tool. And so I hate that they kind of push the Chromebook as a laptop replacement, because it kind of is, especially if you're more productive with your laptop than you are, using your laptop as an entertainment device. But I only know, most people I know would use their laptop as an entertainment device for streaming and gaming, and a Chromebook cannot keep up with that. It just does not have the processing power or the RAM to keep up with it, unfortunately. But they are not necessarily bad devices. Again, like Igor points out, if you only have to do spreadsheets and type papers and research stuff online, these are excellent machines. They are not only going to be really fast, they have probably the best battery life you can get, as well as really, really good connections to usually 3G, 4G, sometimes 5G. I think they're starting to come out with the 5G Chromebook. But I haven't seen too many with that option. I think this Microsoft Surface laptops are starting to come out with more of that 5G push as well. But that's just on the cusp
of a lot over the years.
So very cool technology. Definitely take a look at that stuff. I might have to do a Chromebook special in the future. Our next episode, it was coming out this coming Monday, and that will be the history of the video game systems and really where did they come from. Since we just learned about where computers came from, you'd think they came from the same spot, but actually very different, whole different backstory with video games. So we'll get into that and our next main episode, which is going to be next Monday, and that I think is the 8th. February the 8th. Not looking at a calendar. I'm sorry.
Something like that.
Yeah.
That's all right. All of our main videos will go up at 6 a.m. Eastern, so you can keep an eye out for that. Definitely, if you're subscribed, make sure to hit the little bell so you get a notification whenever a new one comes out. So every other Monday we'll have a full video. Every Wednesday we're going to be doing this.
Every Wednesday.
What's New Wednesdays is what we're calling it, and it'll just go over anything that's happened the last week, either something new or something we thought about, just to give you guys a bit more content, something you might be interested in, or to show you a rocket go boom, or to introduce you to my assistant. I'm the editor, but
so cute.
Max here.
Kitty love.
Tries to help, and by help I mean just get in the way all the time.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love it.
They're sweet. Thank you.
But again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today, and hopefully the stream went a little better. I know we had some issues with Windows and some latency, so hopefully things were better this time, the second time around for our live stream. And I appreciate everybody for taking the time to tune in. And hopefully, if you guys have any questions or any comments, topics, anything that you want us to really dive into, if maybe you want to know more about the time slips, or you want to know more about Steve Wozniak, or whatever it is, hit us up in the comments or on any of our videos on our main website or any of our extensions. Again, we're on Twitter, we are on Facebook, so definitely take a look there. Hit us up, let us know what you guys want to see, and we'll definitely go from there. So I appreciate everybody for taking the time to tune in today, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed our second What's New Wednesday Cookies Enabled episode, and we will definitely see you guys next time.